know. Pam, when you were walking in, all you saw was your son.
Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, regular Township Council meeting of September 22nd, 2015.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on January 8, 2015, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record on January 12, 2015, and in the Star Ledger on January 14, 2015, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on January 8, 2015. No council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision, Public Access Channel 21 at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
Please rise for the flag salute. Mr. DePiero, if you would.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. DiPiero,
here.
Mr. Paluso,
Present.
Mr. Stanton.
Here.
Mr. Valori,
Here.
Council President Karifi.
Here. Also present, Mayor James R. Barberio, L&M Sandman, Business Administrator, Paula Cosarelli, Assistant Business Administrator, John Inglesino, Esquire, Township Attorney, Ann M. Cucci, CFO, and Nora Jolie, Deputy Registrar. Upcoming meetings, October 6, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. Agenda meeting, October 20th, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. Regular meeting. This time we'll have a presentation by Mr. Walsh, Superintendent of Parks and Forestry.
Good evening. Just to give you an update on Smithfield, we've had the bid go out for the Smithfield expansion. In planning Smithfield, when I first presented it, sometimes you have to go forward to go backwards because Smithfield is long existing. We planned for everything, or tried to plan for everything to fit and meld together for the future. In doing so, we planned many other things, including underground utilities, so on and so forth. When we got the estimated cost for the entire project that I originally presented, it was about $6.5 million. So going back to the administration, we had to scale it back, and we did. Putting in the necessary stuff to also plan for the future, for phase 2, phase 3, whatever you want to do. So the phase 1 that is before you, as far as the bidding is, as far as the bid award, is for the turf field with lights. It's for the concession stand, restroom, storage facility by A Field, new electrical upgrade, and of course with that, where the electric panel and all that is going to be, we're going to redo the tennis courts, existing basketball courts with new lighting system into it. So all that'll be new for right now, and that's why you're seeing a fairly lower number than what we originally had. And going back to the administration, we spent months trying to cut and try to get the best price or the best cost estimate on this, and it was just to do the whole project in one shot. The way I originally presented it was just way out of the ballpark. So we decided that we would do it in phases. So what you have before the council tonight in the bid is for basically phase 1, which is your full-size multi-purpose artificial turf field with lights, your restroom facility, and the upgrade of the tennis and basketball courts with lights, and new electrical transformer and utilities that have to be put in to support the added facilities. The price came in, I think, base price was somewhere around 2.6 or 2.8 million dollars, and we had 3.5 in there, so we were able to get not only the base price, but the 3 additional ad alternates, which was the tennis courts, the repaving of the tennis courts, the repaving of the basketball courts, and the installation of the new lights for both courts, which would then be incorporated into the lighting system for the turf field. So now everything there would be on a Musco system, more efficient, obviously, a better product.
Jim, I know the last time you had the project, you thought it might be done by the end of the year. Is that realistic, or is that going to get pushed back?
Well, we're going to start it this year. Hopefully the weather, works with us. I'm looking at probably start this year. Should be done by April or May of next year. Again, it depends on the weather. It depends on how bad the winter is. Most of the work they can do as long as we don't have snow. There's nothing that's really other than the restroom, and that building is really sensitive to the cold and the frost. The field. We did Smith Field. We started Smith Field when we redid that in February. I think it was February 1st or 2nd. They actually brought a milling machine in, and it worked to the contractor's advantage to do that when the ground was frozen. So we can work as long as we don't have a lot of snow.
Mr. Walsh, you had mentioned that you're repaving the tennis courts. I thought in the presentation originally we were moving the tennis courts.
We were, but
Cost was
the
astronomical.
cost to do all that was astronomical. So we're going to have to go through the existing tennis courts for your utilities, your electric, in order to put a bigger transformer, and we have to move it back out towards Grange Road. So we're going to be disturbing the tennis courts. The tennis courts aren't in really that good a shape. It has 2 layers of asphalt on it now. So we're going to strip it or mill it down and repave it and basically redo those tennis courts where they are now.
Do you have a new rendering so we can see what it looks like?
No, that I do not have. It's basically what you're looking at now. What the existing facilities are as they are now.
Bathrooms included?
The bathrooms are going to be by A Field. We're behind A Field, where the between A Field and D Field, the artificial turf field and the baseball field. And then the existing red barn is staying, and the field is going to go down the end of Grange Road by the picnic area.
Okay. I was just out with some friends, and I was watching a cricket game over the weekend, and I know a lot of people have been asking us for cricket fields. Will this field lend itself to cricket?
It will. It's not a full-size cricket field. Smithfield cannot handle a full-size cricket field. I think we discussed that with you the last time in the initial presentation. You would lose the whole picnic area. You would change the face of Smithfield. You would take all the wooded area out.
So it's that much larger?
Yeah, they need approximately 4 acres
Oh, I didn't realize
for a
that.
cricket field.
4 acres. Big.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a big, expansive grass for
So the game
that
is-
sport.
The game has to be modified then, I guess?
Yeah, they're playing down at they're playing down at Volunteers Park now, and for the most part, from what we've seen, they don't necessarily play on the pitch. There's a certain group that does. They normally play the ends in.
Yeah, because I've seen them play down there also. I'm like, I didn't realize there was that much of a difference in the size.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they again, it's going to be a modified cricket field. We don't have that much turf there for that, or that much area for that.
So, we met with some of the cricket organizations and had meetings prior to deciding how we're going to do it. We told them from day one that it will never be
It won't be a full size.
because not only will it change the face of it would take other sports areas out as well. That's how big it is. It's like in the diameter, and it would start, if you would take the whole picnic area out, then you go to the baseball field, which is the A football field.
Okay, yes.
And some of that as well.
Wow, okay. I
So
didn't realize
as
the
well.
dimensions.
But they-
It's
we
about 4
discussed the
acres.
pitch, we discussed everything, and they were fine with it.
Okay, that's
So,
great.
so in other words, we will have a modified cricket field?
Yeah, we'll put in the way we're working with things is part of it. If you remember on the rendering, part of it is a softball field, so it's going to have the clay-colored turf. It's all turf. It's all artificial turf, and we do all our own lines, which is a benefit because we can skew it or through the different seasons put down the lines as to the sport that plays on it. So the cricket goes out in the middle. It would be field hockey. It would be lacrosse. It'd be softball, small, like little league size baseball if they had to. The bases we can move back and forth as far as the baseball field is. So it's very versatile by us doing it. It's going to be all green except for the infield.
Okay.
And the infield will be, just a brown clay colored, but it's all turf. It's all artificial.
So you would say this artificial turf is an overlay, basically? You can overlay different sports on this turf?
We paint, yes, by painting lines. That's all we're doing. Is we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just painting lines like we do in all the rest of our fields.
Okay.
I just got a question in regards to the quality of the turf, because I know we had received an email in regards to the specifications, not so much of the underlaying of the, obviously, the turf field would be the quality of the turf itself. And I know in that memo there was concerns regards to the quality of the turf compared to the other brands, because I guess the brand that they were referring to is, I know Morris Catholic, and there's a field, Ellen, in Denville that also uses that same brand. I'm not sure what the name of that brand was.
Gardner Field or Veterans Field?
What's that? Field
think it-
turf or
yeah,
short turf?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know there was something in regards
We've done 3 separate specs in Parsippany. We have 3 turf fields.
Okay,
We can spec a product or equivalent. What we do is when the bid comes in, if somebody gives us a different product and they are the lowest bidder or close to the lowest bidder, we will review that product. We don't do it beforehand. We do it at the time of the bid spec.
oh, so when they're making the bid.
So
obviously, if it's the lowest bid-
they can spec something else as long as it's equivalent to what we put out there, what we spec'd. However, the person that did spec this,
You know the memo I'm talking about, right?
yes, absolutely,
Detail memo?
absolutely, yeah. There was I think it was Shaw Turf or whatever it was. The company that did spec them was the highest bidder, not even close. They were almost $900,000 more.
For the material itself, the turf material itself?
No, their bid.
Oh, for the
Their
bid
bid
itself.
was almost $900,000 more than the lowest bidder. They were 3.8, almost $3.9 million.
Okay, and the question I have for you is the material itself, for durability and price-wise, because I know that you mentioned there's going to be a lot of activities on there. And again, I saw Morris Catholic's, the field's beautiful out there, and on the other field there in Denville. I just want to make sure that we're getting the best quality material that's going to last. And I don't know, I'm not.
I mean, we've been running field turf now. Our oldest field is General Park. It's 10 years old,
Okay,
and it's used
so that is 10 years
probably
old.
yeah. It's used probably almost 11 and a half months out of the year. The only time is when there's snow and frost.
Okay.
And the product.
Is there a price
stands.
difference, a big price difference in regards to the quality of the different materials that are out there, or are they all about the same?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I go by what they, the contractor bids, because the contractor gets it from, they put in a bid from what the supplier will give them. So I don't know what those prices are.
Okay.
What's the warranty on that field?
Yeah, that's,
The warranty on field turf, I believe, is 8 or 10 years on a warranty.
I want to, I know you might have some additional questions, but I want to go on record as saying I want to thank Jimmy for working with I'll call them the landscape architects. And because one of the things we tried to do when we did meet with them numerous times was what we do build and what we are building, as Jimmy has said 3 times now, is the majority of what everybody wanted to see out there. But we did it within the hopes of what is out there. We're going to try, and we did with an eye toward, we've already got 90% of the design for the future, and what is put in there should not be so disturbed when we move forward with other things. It might be a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it was done very efficiently, and that took a lot. That's one of the reasons why it took some more time on that. Correct, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, the infrastructure is going to be set.
Yeah.
Your utilities and all of that is going to be set so that when Phase 2 or Phase 3, however many phases we do, later on, it'll be minimal disturbing to the existing stuff that we're putting in now. For example, we can reuse the light poles for the tennis and basketball courts
good.
and move them over. you won't have to, we won't be purchasing another Musco box because that'll already be there. So by tying all this in, now, we're not wasting it. And we tried to set it up so that we have minimal loss when we do the second, phase where where we're moving the other stuff into what you have seen in your initial presentation.
Right. And that's why we also bid it out with alternates, and we put the alternates in priority order, and as luck would have it, this is a very, very, very...
Yeah, we happen to get a good bid on
got
this one.
all the alternates.
All right, good.
So we're getting everything.
What is Phase 2 and what is Phase 3 that you envision?
Well, I mean, again,
It'd be up to...
it's up to the the administration and what what our projection will be later on. I mean, Phase 2, we could in essence do the other half of the project because it's about, right now projected cost was about $3 million for the other half of the project. So it's about half with what we have now.
Can you refresh our memory what the other half of that project was?
I'm sorry?
Refresh our memory what the other half of the
The
project
other half would be new basketball courts, new tennis courts, new handball court, an additional restroom down by the turf field. If you remember, the tennis courts, the existing tennis basketball courts, and the barn would be removed. That's going to be all parking. There's a new picnic pavilion, a new toy, and a new maintenance building down the end. And part of this, in spending the time, we were able to come up with a different design for our drainage, our flood control. The initial estimates I remember saying was somewhere around $1.3 million. By redesigning that and going back to the drawing board, using part of Seafield, the part that's always wet,
Okay.
and having it above ground, we cut that down right now. The estimate now was about $700,000. And that also takes out the need for underground tanks. Like you see like they did down at Advanced Auto, they put the tanks underground for filtration. We don't need any of that. So that's a benefit to the town. We don't have to worry about cleaning all that out. So, we redesigned it as we went along to try to make it as cost effective. In the end, it was just too big of a nut for us with what we had, so that's why we divided the project.
And just one question, you had made mention of it. How many parking spaces are you going to have with that, obviously? with this
The newer one,
Yes.
I don't know the number off my head. It's got to be about 200 maybe.
Okay.
Right now parking might be a little bit of an issue.
Because I can see a lot more use going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
Parking might be a little bit of an issue right now, but it's something that we're going to have to work through.
But escalated, just tell them what escalated the project. It was actually utilities and the electrical cost.
Oh, yeah, the drainage, the utilities, everything that was beyond our control. It's not, it wasn't frivolous stuff. It was stuff that, because it's new, you have to be up to the certain criteria of the DEP and, everybody else. So that's what, there was stuff like that. The drainage being the biggest. That, even the field itself now, I don't know if you've seen what they did at the high schools. They put in drainage where none of the water from the schools from those fields, even though they're turf fields, are supposed to go off-site. It actually goes down into a cistern or an underground drainage system. We have to have that same drainage system, even though our other fields do not have them because they're older. So it's a lot of that goes into it. That's cost that's beyond our control.
Just one other question, just want to follow up on that system you just talked about, but before that, the parking spaces, are we actually going to be losing some spots over there?
No, we're not touching well, you are down. I'm sorry. Yes, you are down the end. Down the end by the picnic area, you are going to lose. I don't know whether there's about 15 spaces. Down where the picnic area is. The turf field itself is going to be coming up to where, if you remember, where the gate comes in on the side of the barn.
Yes.
That gate is staying,
Okay.
and that's going to be an entrance and exit. There's a telephone pole there, which we're not moving. That's going to be another phase of the project. We were able to sneak the field in there. But it's going to be straight across there and then down towards Route 80.
So the parking's going to be up there by the Empire Diner on that
Correct.
side lot, and then obviously on the other side of the main field right now. Everybody comes in off of
Well,
Baldwin Road.
Right,
there?
you have Baldwin Road, you have Route 46 by the Empire Diner, you have Grange Road, the limited space from the building up to the tennis courts, that's going to be the parking.
Okay.
Jim, in reference to that area right there, you have the children's swings and things like that. Are you relocating those?
No, right now, all that's staying. Anything on that side of the road is staying. We're not going to touch the picnic area.
Okay.
That was slated for a new toy in this project. For right now, we'll see what we're going to do in that area. That might be something down the road, which we can sneak in later.
So this field basically is going to be on the other side of Grange Road?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know if you remember where the old houses
Yes,
used to be, the
I've seen
McDermott houses.
Right. Right.
That's the property that it's going to be on.
Okay. And how much space will be available after that for additional phases? Is there an acre left after that?
As far
The
as...
field is going to encompass the whole length, or?
No. If you remember in the drawing, in front of the field, from the field to the, I guess it's the building, or the building right in the front there, there's going to be tennis courts, basketball courts, 2 tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, and a handball court.
Okay, and that's phase 2.
And that's phase 2. And the restroom would be somewhere right around where the driveway goes in, the existing driveway now. And where we're putting all the utilities, we're putting them in with that in mind, so that we don't have to really dig up too many other things. They're going to be there. So that'll save us, a little bit on down the line.
And can you just repeat, so I can write this down, what sports you can overlay on this field? We talked about a partial cricket field.
You have a modified cricket field, you have field hockey, you have lacrosse, softball, Little League baseball, soccer, football, those kind of sports.
So basically all the sports would
Yeah.
be encompassed on this one field?
It's an all-purpose, multi-purpose field.
All-purpose, okay, great.
It'll be a little harder nap than what the other turf will be, because I call it a small ball field. So it'll be all of them. You want it a little different than the soccer field and the football
I was
field.
going to ask you that next. Okay. So,
It's a little bit different, yeah.
Is there a vision as to who is going to be occupying the field at what times? Because there's a multiple sports you can play. If there's football,
Well, it would be during the season, whatever, the seasons will, and that's something that the administration and us in the Recreation Department will work out as far as scheduling.
And you said you'll restripe it each time.
Yeah, most of the time the fields, the lines last, a good part of the year. And what we do is we let, for example, Smithfield, we let the soccer lines kind of dissipate at this time of year, and we paint the football lines, and they come up, because PAL uses that. Same thing with Generone. And Vets is a soccer field. That's all it is. So as the sport dictates, that's when we refresh the lines. They don't ever go away. Because of the amount of paint that we put down on it, they kind of just stay there. But they do fade, so you do get predominant lines.
And how would you paint the cricket lines? Because that would be overlapping another sport. It would probably overlap.
No different than we do on the other ones. No different than we do on the other fields. I mean, you have certain colors for certain sports.
Right.
Usually scheduled, so you guys know.
so for season.
Not just for the season.
Right.
They're also scheduled based on feeder sports into the schools.
Okay.
If there's a sport that's not being played in the schools, and there's a sport that's playing into the schools, we usually that dictates who gets the field, because we always had, since Priori, feeder sports in the schools. Those are the programs that got most of the use,
Okay.
like soccer. Now lacrosse might be in the high school.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things I'd also add is that the lowest bidder is someone that we've worked with before and have had a very good experience. I spoke
Yeah.
to our purchasing agent before tonight's meeting, just so to share that with you, and that's my understanding.
Yeah, the lowest bidder was Tomco Construction. They actually did Generone Park Phase 2, the baseball field. And they've done a few other
Came out really
projects.
nice.
Yeah, they've done a few other projects for us. We never had a problem with them before. So, we know the contractor, which is good.
We just want this to go flawless, so that's why our next questions.
Right.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, Okay, bids to be taken, none. Requests for quotations, proposals, qualifications, none. Ordinances, second reading and public hearing. Mr. DePiero?
Ordinance 2015:24, an ordinance establishing white-collar salary ranges. The notice for the ordinance above was published in a daily record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on August 18, 2015. Motion to accept that ordinance 2015:24 be heard in its second and final reading by title only.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. This time, entertain a motion to open up the public hearing on this
Motion.
ordinance and this ordinance only.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Valori. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? See no one come forward, entertain a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Paluso. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Whereas the above ordinance was read in title on second reading and the hearing held thereon, now therefore be it resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading, and that a notice of final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law. Motion to approve.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. Paluso?
Ordinance number 2015:25. Before I read this in, I just want to state for the record that we did have letters from the Historical Committee about this matter. I have not heard any resolution on their questions and concerns. And also, I had asked for a letter of recommendation to approve this by the Board of Education for the purpose of liability, and I've not heard back on that either. I'll read it into the record. An ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, to amend Section 405-36, control for the movement and the parking of traffic on public and private property of the Township. The notice for the ordinance above was published in the Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on August 21st, 2015. Motion to accept that ordinance 2015:25 to be heard in its second and final reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Paluso, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
No.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
No.
Mr. Karifi?
No. Okay, Mr. Stanton.
Consent agenda. Be resolved, all items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine, non-controversial by the Township Council, be approved by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests, which case the item be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda.
Motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Township office reports.
Yes, I would like to report. As we do when we have our budget hearings, we make commitments to follow through on certain things. One of the things we said we would follow through on is utilizing a firm known as GovDeals. And what GovDeals does is, at no cost to the municipality, they come in and sell, in this case, it was 14 vehicles that were on the at the police department, some of which were vehicles that had been picked up during the course of some kinds of incidents. And so there were 14 vehicles sold, and the good news is we made, or will be making when everybody pays, everybody bid on, they were all bid out, so the town will make $5,582. All the vehicles get moved by the people. We don't have to transport them out. And now that we've had this trial case doing this, we're going to utilize it at the utilities, you know, excess materials that no longer have need, and to clean up public works area, to clean up certain areas in whether it be golf or sewer or water, and then have some surplus monies go into the the coffers. The other thing I just would like to let you know as a reminder, on Monday, the September 28th, there will be between 11 and 12:30, and also on Monday, the 28th, in the evening from 7 to 8:30. As you may recall, the council and the mayor worked together with the Asperger's folks, and they will be doing some form of presentation as to what they will be doing for the for us and for our people that have this condition. So I'll make sure that this gets out on, we'll make sure that it gets out on the web and into the papers, but all are invited. And again, on behalf of the Asperger's organization, they said me to personally thank the mayor and council this evening for helping make a difference in people's lives. So that's what I'd like to report this evening. Thank you. Oh, on a personal note, I love what I do, and for all those who reached out and talked about my mom and read the information about her, and even if I'm a small modicum of what that wonderful woman was, I'm proud. So thank you for letting me work here and put up with me, but. And she would say, just get on about it. So I will. So thank you very much for it's very much it makes a difference because we live full in what we do, and I was allowed the time to be with my mom, and thank you for that. So
I would like to add one thing to the township office reports, a request. Now that Mr. Bober has been gone for a while, now Frank Laredo is retiring, we haven't had an update on what's going on at the sewer treatment plant. Could we have a report from the administration of what progress we made regarding the updates and the status of what's going on there now? Some of what was left, as I recall, to do had to do with maintenance, electrical and some other things, and some of it had to do with potential new revenue sources that we were going to do. So could we have, at some point in the near future, a report?
sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
And Mr. DePiero, I mean, what type of, and I agree with you, because there's a lot going on down there, and there's a lot of potential to generate, obviously, revenue for the town. What type of report will we get done, or who would actually be doing the report?
I will. I will forward to the council what is happening in terms of hiring a new sewer superintendent, what is being done with existing RFPs that have been yet to be awarded. The one that has been awarded, I will give you a full update as to where everything is at.
Okay. And will this be before the next meeting, so we know that we have, it's
Yeah.
a work in progress?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, great.
I'd like to also
Thank
add.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
I'd like to also add to the township report. I just want to know the status of the insurance. I understand Fairview Insurance, Resolution 2014-169 was voted down. We were looking for an alternate company to be presented to us. What is the status on that, Fairview Insurance Company?
Are you talking about the broker of record for health insurance?
Yes, that's correct.
And what are you looking for, Councilman?
I was looking for an alternate insurance company, alternate broker of record to be presented to us. Since we
Okay.
did not approve Fairview.
Well, I believe we were working with John with regard to what their position is relative to the township, given that they did the work in doing the negotiations on behalf of the township for 2015 health insurance. That's where it's at right now. But I
If I can add, last year, when this all came up, we were told that Fairview started doing this in September or October for the town. So
Oh, sure,
if
they
Fairview was voted out or down, then they should not be doing this work now, preparing for 2016, correct?
I
think it's
would,
best- yeah.
respectfully, I would suggest that is an item that we should discuss in closed session.
Okay. But I mean, it is on record they were voted out.
Under attorney, under legal advice exception. We can do that tonight or at a later date. It's the council's pleasure.
I mean, we could do it tonight.
Tonight?
So, don't mind me here. So the question was as to what the status is with the broker. Is there
Fair
Again,
broker process.
Again, I'll repeat myself. My recommendation is that the subject be discussed in closed session under the legal advice exception to the Open Public Meetings Act.
Okay, so we'll go to closed session on that.
Okay,
I
I
have
also,
I'll let you go. I have a few items too. Before you
okay.
go.
I'll finish up. I also had a question about the payment of bills for Aurora. I understand that we were not going to be paying any further bills on them.
I believe we've had some discussion on this, and some emails have been transmitted. I can state for the record that a letter has been now, we have it in the clerk's office, and it has been submitted to those that have opened the request of the final payment with regard to the $220,000. And as you know, last year we spent or paid $150,000 of that. During the course of this year, we've been paying down the other $70,000. That was the final payment and final bill for the work that had been done. There was an additional engagement with the Aurora for additional work, which is, you know, something not any part of what was done prior. So that's when I said that. When we said, and I said, that was completed and done, that phase, yes, done, completed, that's the cost. There was an additional request for $22,000 for work that was done in, for future, not future, but in more cases that are connected to the issue at hand, but have nothing to do with the past work that was done.
And who approved the additional expenditures?
Well, again, I would defer to the attorney to say how that works, again, how that was set up.
The subject is Fairview again?
No, Aurora.
Aurora bills.
Oh,
The fact that I do not
Who
get,
approved the additional expenditures on Aurora?
yeah, I'm not the person to ask on that.
Okay.
The person to ask on that would be Dennis Driscoll in my office.
Can you ask him and get back to us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a few questions. On a good note, is there any status on what we're doing with grant writing? Or do we have anybody working on that? Because I have a lot of folks that keep asking me about grant writing. Are you ladies, anybody have a
yeah.
specialty there that does that?
yes, I do it, and we do it, and as you know, we just received an award for one of our historical buildings.
So
and-
good news, okay, so
Good
how
news,
much?
yeah. Right now, it's just the planning stage. I think it's like, was it 37,000 something?
I want to say in the 40s somewhere.
Yes, around 37,500, but it's just the initial phase. We are pursuing next year to go then for the bricks and mortar and the plans.
Okay.
And then the third phase will be for the actual building of, the renovation to the building. So we do pursue that. I pursue grants all the time.
How about like for the police department, for manpower?
We
equipment?
have the armor grant, the armor grant
Okay.
for armor. I don't know if there's been,
The ticket and click it and,
speaking to the microphone.
sorry about that. The click it and ticket, I believe,
Okay.
DWI is out there. I could provide you with a list of the grants, and we do have some Chapter 159 grants to add to the budget this year,
I could.
which have come in. And that'll be on the next council meeting.
And I think it's
And
good
one
for
of
the
the other
public to
th-
see
yeah.
too. They know that
Absolutely.
we're trying to ascertain monies other places.
Right, and we do. And the other thing is, because we are so successful in our programs that Joe Plesher and others take care of with the community monies,
Yeah, the
we always
MAC
get
grant.
additional funding from them because we do such a wide range of programs. They always give us additional funding for that. We pursue it, and they say, can you have more program? And we provide the programming, and they provide us with the funding through the county.
Yeah,
But
but
yes.
If I
They've
could just-
extended those MAC grants this year and the previous year. Instead of being just 12 months, it was 16 or 18 months. And we've been receiving that money in addition to the JAL grant, the juvenile the grant for that.
So it's
So,
basically you three that work on,
yeah, but
grant.
actually, it's the whole town, I have to say, because
We just funnel a lot of it.
Okay.
yeah, we funnel it. You'll see a little bit more of it next week when I put some resolutions, and we're receiving money as we speak. Usually, we put it in the following year's budget, but we want to use it already. We have tonnage coming in, or has already come in, tonnage grant, things like that.
Okay.
So I'll give you the list next week.
And even,
Or next
yeah,
meeting,
even
I'm
the
sorry.
other thing that we created ourselves with Greg and the recycling of the turf and doing that.
Right.
Remember, it's not so much, we're giving it away, but the thing is, we're not having to spend the money to have it be removed. So
Yes.
we're always trying to think, outside the box, as it were, for different ways to raise money. And, we just sold over 40 something.
Let's just go to our-
Yeah, okay, you want to talk to that? And in doing so, we had to go through the rigors of maintaining our bond rating, and we did. And Ann and I are hopeful, and Paula are hopeful that under our watch and under our care, that we'll be a AAA-rated community. So
Right, good.
I'm putting that out there, so I have to go for it.
Okay,
And
good.
we'll all be looking good, because Parsippany is definitely a AAA town.
Yeah, a big part of that. That's Standard & Poor's and Moody's are no longer waiting for a bond sale to come and look at each township. You'll see that they're coming out and just doing random samplings and wanting to look at reevaluate your bond rating, and we were one of those who got chosen in the middle of everything. So it's quite rigorous, to be honest with you. And the biggest thing, one of the greatest things we have is an increase of assessed value, which we haven't seen in years and years and years. And thanks to our township growing, GAF, there's a whole list of wonderful things happening here. We're going to be able to add to the assessed value for the first time, and I don't know how long. So we were able to bring that up to them. And I think seeing that along with our the tax rate, et cetera, we were able to maintain that AA, going for the AAA. I told them. Next year, we'll be looking to bond things, permanently finance, and we'll be looking at all of that during the budget process coming up next month, probably. And we did a note sale that's closing on Thursday for almost $47 million. It's $46,851,000, of which we got a rate of 0.3274, be exact. That's pretty awesome, because it looks like the going rate's about 0.72, 1% to 0.72, and we're way under that, so we're very successful there. We're
That's good
excited
news.
about that.
That's good news.
I was told years ago that we will never be a AAA because of the requirement for how much surplus you must maintain. And
Right.
we could
Yeah.
never justify the amount of surplus that they require for AAA. Is that true?
Well, I'm hoping to build some surplus. I
Yeah,
mean,
so- no,
I
think
mean,
it's true, but I'm saying
We
there
could
are
be-
ways to do it,
Yeah, and other-
and there are ways to be successful and to do it. So, and we are going to do it.
Ellen, don't
And
let us down.
I'm going to tell you, we're just as, Pat's here, and one of the things she talked about during the budget is what are we going to do? And what we're going to do is, we have a tremendous surplus in our sewer surplus, and we're going to pay down, without having to go out to bond, we can pay down a great portion of
Correct.
debt service. They look at both ends. You look at what you're paying down so that you're not mortgaging the future. And the second thing is you're building up your surplus. And we did get some premium monies that we're going to put towards fund balances. So, Mike, yeah, it's kind of a yes and no answer. Yes, we'll never. Don't say never. We will, and I.
We're gonna
I
work
think
hard at it, that's it.
We're gonna work really hard on it. Even if we have to make some money down in the basement, we're gonna. No, we're gonna work hard at it. We're driven, we're competitive, and we can see the handwriting on the wall with the fact that we were able to get through to S&P. And one of the things that Danny, our tax assessor, was able to say, I'm not just talking about the year 15 and the year 16. He said, on into the future, the assessed value is on its way up. So that was premier, or one of the
That was big.
that was very telling and very welcoming. And they did take a look at our finances, and they thought we should maintain what we had, but we told them we're coming back.
Good. Hey, Ella, another
Yeah.
question I have for you, because I spoke to you in the past about it. How are we making out with the other bordering communities, such as like Mountain Lakes, with shared services? Because I know we were looking to save money, and
Right,
that's
right.
a big...
Because of the fact that we just, and I'm going to steal a little Ann's thunder, but we're also involved in it. As you know, now it's on our watch, moving forward with having budget meetings now in October and November for 2016. That's going to happen. The other thing is, we just changed over a whole computer system and financial package, which was mentioned in audit reports, and our finances will be, and you will be getting such reports that it'll be easy for us now to do what you're asking, to give you the information delineated in fine fashion because of the work that all the departments have done, and as the lead. So I have gotten calls from administrators. Where I'm going with this is, it's just been we've just been consumed. But now I feel I can breathe a bit, and I will be reaching out, because he's reached out for me a second time now, the administrator in Mountain Lakes.
Good.
I have a very good working relationship with Denville. We're looking into some things there, and we're better. And you don't just share for share's sake. It'll be something that's of value to both
absolutely.
municipalities.
Yes.
And so, I just had to get my head wrapped around it. I'm sorry it took me a year, but
No, it's fine.
No, I'm kidding.
We're going the right direction.
yeah, we are definitely going in the right
No,
direction.
this is fine, and I want to
Yeah.
keep
No.
going after that. And this is for all the council members. I know we spoke about it last week, Mr. DePiero, because you had made mention of a name also. The folks that we want to put in and recognize them for their service, either volunteer, such as the planning board, zoning board. I know we mentioned Mr. George Kimmy, Casey Parikh, and the other gentleman,
Steve Dickens.
Steve Dickens. Is there anybody else in mind that needs to be obviously nominated so we could get that taken care of through the clerk?
What we should do is go down to Peggy Mader, from the planning board.
Okay.
And what's her name from the Board of Adjustment?
I'm Harriet, right? Harriet.
Harriet, okay. And get a record from them of who has left in the last however many years we want to go back.
Okay.
See, Judy Silver had a beautiful spreadsheet, and she took care of all of that.
Okay.
When Alicia Johnson came in, that got lost, and no one's been able to pick up on it. So we really have to start that all over
Yeah,
again.
because there's folks that,
If we want to make it retroactive, then we need to go back to those two gals.
and I'd like
find
it
out.
to be retroactive to give them some recognition for
And,
that.
and it should be also the other committees, too.
Absolutely.
It should
That's
be
what I'm
all-
saying. There's a lot of
It should
other
be all the committees that we're liaison to should be included in that.
Folks like yourself here at the historical committee that show up and they're always involved, folks that are trying to give back to the town. So if we could come up with names, and I'll reach out to Harriet and also Peggy.
The chairperson of every committee, whatever records they have, they should share with us. But then there has to be someone who puts it into a spreadsheet, an ongoing spreadsheet, so we have a record of who served from when to when, that kind of a thing, for all the different committees and boards.
Well, that would be the township clerk that should maintain that, but
And that's what Judy Silver used to do.
I started assisting Yancy with that, and she should have it on file. I do have a copy in the event it's misplaced, but I tried to resurrect a new listing to find out when positions are coming due, when they expired, who was in previous ones, and the historical nature of it, because we do have to give awards out and thank these people for their volunteerism that they've given to our community. Mr. Valori, I just want to, before we go any further, I'm
Yes.
not sure if you have anything else, I just want to pick up on a couple of things that he had mentioned tonight.
Before we leave that, then, and Nora and I, Nora, I thank you for sitting in and as the assistant clerk, and I guess I missed a meeting, so I'm the acting clerk. But
See what happens when you miss a meeting?
See what happens when you miss a meeting. We'll take a look at the records, but if we need to, we will call upon you to get that.
Yeah, happy to help you, yes.
While we're on that, I will like to report for the good of the order that numerous applications and resumes have been coming in. We're putting them together. And by the end of this week, you and the committee will get all the resumes that we've
requested?
yes.
Great,
And
thank you.
there's more than 15. So and some of them are certified. Have the full requirements and certification. Others have there's potential there. So I think you'll have something to look at and go through. Okay, so you'll have that
Right,
by
thank
the
you.
end of the week. I just wanted to give it time to garner them, get them together, and we'll put them in good order for you.
Sure. What I want to pick up on was what Mr. Valori had indicated about grant writing.
I have something
I
else
had
there.
I had mentioned a couple of times to yourself, Ellen, and Ann as well, about grant writing. And if we could get an outside company or start discussing with them the possibilities of maybe attaining more grants than we already get. Because I understand the state of New Jersey was granted over $658 million from the government, federal government, and it'd be nice to get a larger piece of the pie if we can actually work with a professional grant writer that can work along with you and actually take some things off your plate. They may be aware of other grants that we're not aware of.
Well, to that end, I just want to report, I am now the chairperson of the Rockaway River Watershed Cabinet, as well as an executive member. I work very closely with the Rutgers Cooperative Extension. One of the Chapter 59 amendments that Ann is talking about is an amendment of $55,000 to the budget, in which this township received through a 319H grant through the Rutgers, working cooperatively with the Rutgers Cooperative Extension for sedimentation chambers at Public Works. Very fascinating, and I really would urge you to go up there and understand what happens, because the purpose of this is to filtrate any waters. Public Works, as you know, there's oils, there's all sorts of things. These sedimentation chambers will filter through that water, so by the time it hits the Troy Brook, these waters have been pre-treated. Also, I'm working from the Rockaway River Watershed Cabinet on a 604B grant, which is a pass-through grant, passing through the township. And what that grant is for, we haven't gotten a no. There's been a lot of shifting in the DEP. That grant is for $48,000, and it's for alternate to de-icing, and it's for education. So that's something that I'm hoping. I've been working closely with Pat Rector at the Rutgers Cooperative Extension, so we're hoping for that to come through as well. I'm also working and meeting with a gentleman with regard to energy grants. I believe that's the federal monies you might be talking about.
Part of
I'm
it,
meeting with an individual on October 3rd.
Great.
Yep.
And one of the things I would like to add is, and I talked about this, because of our size and also our location, some of these grant monies don't flow this direction. However, there is an entity, and I did talk about it when I first came, and I had pursued this firm in Mendham, and we did hire them. It's very inexpensive, but it's a computer-based where you just put in what you're looking for, and all the grants that are out there come through. So we won't really be needing a person. It's just a firm, and it's very inexpensive for what it provides.
What's the name of the firm?
Right off the top, I'm not going to know, but I'll give a call to Mendham tomorrow.
That'd be great.
And ask my former secretary to get me that information. So you'll find it to be, it's very intriguing how that's all been, well, with the computerization, it's good, and we'll do that. It's just been very busy, but I'm going to go back on that. That's a very important thing.
I'm equally satisfied to hear that the admin system is really helping the administration,
Yeah.
because I was a proponent of that in the budget to
Yeah.
get automated.
Yes.
And that goes right along with shared services. We need to automate a lot of our processes. So it was very refreshing to hear that it's working well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I know, it just kicked off, everybody's getting used to it, but Ann is actually like the Pied Piper, she's going from office to office, going through so that they get trained in every single person, so some are happy to see her come, some are happy to see her go, but,
Thank you.
Hey, Ellen, I just have one other question. I know you weren't here last week. You had personal matters. The CFO wasn't here, and John wasn't here initially. Last week, Mr. Blinkus had showed up here in the public forum, and he had asked some questions in regards for a reimbursement on an ordinance. And I know Mr. Pluso had indicated that it was kind of hard because nobody was here, so we really didn't have too much to say in dialogue. But Mr. Pluso had indicated that he had, I guess, sent emails to you or the CFO in regards to, the ordinance itself for the reimbursement. And I just want to get some closure as to the ordinance that's in place, and if the man's entitled to, obviously, to reimbursed on that. I don't want to keep, raising this issue, but I know he had sent a couple of memos to the administration and to the council, and obviously his legal advice came in, and, there was really nobody up here, so there's not too much we could really say or do.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if you could give, maybe Mr. Paluso some info on us on what's going on, because it's an ordinance, and obviously, if there was no charges per se on that ordinance, then there should be reimbursement. So I wasn't sure if the ordinance was being reinforced in regards to the dialogue that you had with Mr. Blinkus.
Well, first of all, Mrs. Sandman will not be speaking with Mr. Palinkas. Second of all, Mr. Driscoll has addressed this issue in the past with you in closed session. I will invite him in to the next council meeting to address it in closed session again. The person that you're speaking about is obviously in litigation with the township. None of this discussion is appropriate for open session. Mr. Driscoll, as you know, is handling this matter on behalf of the township, and he will come and again address it with you in closed session. It's not a new issue. It's been raised before.
Okay.
But Mr. Driscoll will be here to do it again.
And I understand exactly what you're
And
saying.
I have no further comment on the
That's good, fine.
subject.
But I understand exactly in regards to litigation, and I'm not talking about litigation.
Well, that's what's
This-
going on, so that
Okay.
you can't say you're not talking about litigation.
The
because
issue
that's
I'm
what's
talking
happening.
about is, and I'm just referring back to Ellen.
Yes.
There's an ordinance that we have in place that obviously if you're being accused of a criminal matter, you're going to be reimbursed for it if you're cleared, okay? We had members in the past that there's an issue that occurred, and they were reimbursed. The issue that I'm talking about, it's an ordinance, it's a public ordinance, that the public could be aware of it. And obviously, the man had submitted, obviously, 3 times, and Mr. Paluso, Councilman Paluso, had inquired also. So I'm not talking about the civil matter. I don't even want to get involved with that. But I'm talking about an ordinance in regards to criminal. And I did read the memo from the prosecutor's office, Attorney General's office, that obviously there was no charges. He was cleared. So there's an ordinance that's pertaining strictly to criminal, not civil. So I'm asking you, and I don't want to put you on the spot,
No, no.
as to what the process is. And I know that you're in conflict because Mr.
Well, but Mr.
Justin
Valori,
had stated that he couldn't respond on it. So
Mr. Valori-
I just want to get some closure as to an ordinance that was reimbursed on in the past. And I just want to know, because it's almost 2 years now, we're getting memos. And we have, obviously, a responsibility when the attorneys come in here. And I think that we handled it pretty fine, where we didn't really know how to answer because there was nobody here for representation. So, we can't go on deaf ears and not do anything about it. So I just would like to know, are we doing anything with this? Do you have any question, concerns?
All I will say at this time, and from at this late hour, I would say that I need to go back and take a look at what was requested and what was asked, and take a look at the ordinance. That's the best I can do at this point. From sitting here now, because no one referred to me, no one said anything to me, before tonight's meeting. So I will definitely. I always get back to you, so I will.
And Ellen, just to let you know, the ordinance that I'm talking about, and again, I don't want to make this confrontational
Yeah.
at all, in
No,
any way,
it's
shape, or
not.
form.
No.
The ordinance I'm talking about, so it's on the record, because again, there was memos sent on it, and again, Mr. Belinkus had questioned us about it, and I really didn't know how to go into great detail and talk about it. And that's, I wish we had representation here.
Mr. Marquetta was here. You were represented by counsel at the meeting.
And what Mr. Marquetta said, that he cannot answer because he's in conflict.
No,
So-
I don't.
Well, yes, he did.
Well,
I sat right here, and he said.
As
he
I've
couldn't respond.
as I've indicated,
Okay.
Mr. Driscoll will be here at the next meeting to
Okay, but
address the
I'm
issue with
I'm
you.
addressing it now. The resolution is Resolution 213-209. It says, Resolution of Parsippany Council, the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, authorizing the reimbursement of legal fees. This was a resolution that was formed by this council, and obviously, Mr. Inglesino was obviously the attorney at the time. There's a resolution here that states that obviously if you are charged or accused of an allegation and you are cleared on criminal wrongdoing, this is criminal, I'm not talking about civil, that obviously you're entitled. And I do have that memo from the prosecutor's office stating that he was cleared of wrongdoing. So I don't want this to get pulled into more of a civil matter. The reality, it's an ordinance in place, and if the administration was dealing with the ordinance, I'd say fine, let it be. But 2 years worth of 3 memos going back and forth to the council, and obviously, you know, he showed up. I didn't know that you 3 were not going to be here, and obviously Justin at the time said, I can't even talk about it because I'm named in that lawsuit. So my point is, it's a resolution that was formed by the council. It's an ordinance. So what I would like to do, to put on record, I'd like to make a motion that he receives the reimbursement, and obviously, whatever those bills are, go through you.
Wait, Mr. Valori, hold on a second.
No,
Fir-
don't interrupt my motion. To be reimbursed on, obviously, this ordinance, which is, that's a resolution, Resolution 213.
Mr. Valori, if I may, because I can't sit
No.
here and allow you to violate, potentially violate law. First of
What am
all,
I violating?
okay, first of all, it's not an ordinance. It was a
Okay, it's a resolution.
Okay, it was a resolution of the
Yes.
council, and as you may recall, obviously you don't recall at the time, I indicated, and I assume you're talking about the reimbursement resolution for the mayor? Is that the resolution you're talking about?
That's what I'm reading right
Okay.
here, yes.
Then you will recall at the time that I issued a legal opinion indicating that reimbursement was not obligatory, he was not entitled to reimbursement, that would be a discretionary act on behalf of the council. So you've mischaracterized
No.
a lot of facts,
No.
you've mischaracterized what the document is, and I think that I would strongly advise that the council hear from Mr. Driscoll in closed session and not take any action that is potentially adverse to the township interest and not supported potentially by law. So just hear Mr. Driscoll in closed session
Okay, here's
before
what-
you
here's
do
what I'm
anything,
gonna do.
because you've
No,
mischaracterized
I'm not mischaracterizing.
what was in front of you.
I'm going to read the resolution so there's no mischaracterization or there's no confusion. The reality was this. An attorney showed up here last week. We were gracious enough to try to answer some of the questions. We had no representation up here, okay? There was no hidden agendas. We didn't know that you weren't going to be here, or the CFO, or Justin was going to be shown up here. His attorney went into great detail and said, listen, I'm sorry, not an ordinance, a resolution in place.
Mr. Valori,
which
the
you
matters
have-
you're talking
Just
about
stop
are
interrupting me
currently
when I'm
being
talking.
litigated with the township.
Mr. Creefy, can you please have him not interrupt me? I'm talking to Ellen. There was a resolution in place to be reimbursed. He spoke about that in great detail. So my point is, Mr. Paluso had indicated that he had dialogue going back and forth, and he never got answers. So my point is, what I did state on the record, I said, I just hope this matter gets resolved because of the fact I don't want to see further litigation or money being wasted against the town. So I'm just going to read the resolution, so I'm not mischaracterizing anything here. And the resolution is,
Councilman Valori, what's the date on the resolution, just so I know?
it's Resolution 213-209. So it was in 2013, this resolution. Okay, and I could give you the copy. It says,
And what was the month?
on here, I don't know what the month is.
Okay.
Well, there should be a date on the resolution. Go to the signature page.
The date. I see obviously all the members on here.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be October 8th, 2013.
Okay, okay. I just, just for
Okay.
the record, some of this discussion you're saying was, prior to my time. We arrived here, June of 2014. So, I might have had one bit of dialogue on this, but go ahead.
Yeah, Ella, just to be fair to you, last week you weren't here, so what I had mentioned was, in relationship to this, that there was several dates that I actually was in communication with you trying to find out additional information. I did look that up since then.
Yeah.
It was January 7th, March 18th, and April 7th that I had emailed, and I asked Are we going to resolve this matter? Because I still have it in my open pending file of things that have not been resolved yet.
Right.
And I want to get this information resolved, but also I want to find out the dollar amount that this individual is requesting for reimbursement.
Right.
Because there was numerous responses through the clerk's office to us with the individual indicating that they're requesting the reimbursement. And what I asked for was how much it is and what does it pertain to and what's the legality of it.
Okay.
If the ordinance is in place,
A resolution.
the resolution you're saying
Resolution?
is? It's a
Yes,
resolution.
It was a resolution that's not applicable to anything other than the matter that was the subject of the resolution. And again, Mr. Valoria, if you want to read the resolution, the council president entertains that's fine. But I issued an opinion at the time that the act of the council in that instance was discretionary, not obligatory. And you have misrepresented
Now,
tonight
first of
that
all-
the council was
Okay.
forced to reimburse. That's not true.
No, now
It's not
you're
factually accurate.
mischaracterizing
Well, that's
you
what
just said
that's what
in
you said a
regards
few
to-
moments ago.
So,
People were
let
here,
me ask
they
you a
know.
question. When did you actually tell me this, or the council, in regards to your opinion on this? Because
I gave-
unfortunately, when
I-
we go back in time on many things, obviously, it's not accurate.
Well,
So if you could be, listen.
Mr. Valori-
if you could be specific on it. The reality is this.
Very
There's a
specific. I'll give
resolution
you the specific. The night of the
I'd like to get a
resolution,
resolution.
I gave an opinion, both written
night-
and oral
okay,
opinion.
Mr.
And the written
Lucio,
and the
for-
written
for your
opinion is
record,
on file with the
in
clerk's
Resolution
office.
2013, I was not a councilman. I was a
can't
civilian
help
sitting in
that.
the audience here. So for you to say that you gave this to me, you didn't give it to me.
I didn't say I gave it
because
to you.
was-
I
okay,
gave it to
so
the
I heard
public.
opinion.
I gave it to
Okay.
the council and I gave it to
All
the
right.
public.
All right, so you're
There's no
dancing
dispute
now.
as to that.
The reality is this.
I
There's
can
a
give you the
resolution
letter
in place.
tomorrow.
I'd like to make a motion.
give you the opinion tomorrow.
If he's entitled to be reimbursed this, that I would recommend that he gets reimbursed if he's entitled to this, and he needs to follow up and give you the dollar amount, and then obviously if he's entitled to it, then fine, then he should get reimbursed. So I like to make that motion. So we have 2 years of delays, and the attorney came here, and I'll be quite honest with you, I was embarrassed because I didn't know exactly what to say. So if in fact this is John's opinion from 2013, it appears to me it fits the same circumstances that his attorneys asked
Mr.
to be
Valori, can you
reimbursed on.
read that resolution? Because I was not on council at the time either.
I wasn't on council either, but I'll read it. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, authorizing reimbursement of legal fees. Whereas the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, the township has an interest in protecting its public employees from false or fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing. Whereas pursuant to Township Code 15-1, a public employee is defined as any current or former elected or appointed official, officer, or member of the boards, agencies, and commissions of the township or employee, whether compensated or not, whether full-time or part-time, who is or was authorized by the township to perform any acts or services provided. However, that this term does not include an independent contractor, and whereas the township insurance does not cover township public employees' defense of false or fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing. And whereas insurance, which would cover the legal defense of township public employees against false or fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing, does not exist. And whereas the defense of false or fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing often incurs significant legal fees and expenses associated with providing said defense. And whereas the New Jersey Supreme Court has held in O'Donnell versus Board of Chosen Freeholders of Morris County, 31 NJ 434-441, 1960, that nothing in the New Jersey statute expressly prohibits or limits a municipality from authorizing the payment of proper expenses incurred by its official. And whereas the New Jersey Supreme Court has held that municipalities have a moral obligation and hence a discretionary authority to pay expenses incurred in good faith by municipal employees acting in their status, including defense of legal actions, challenging acts undertaken or performed by them in that status. All that is necessary to justify the municipality's exercise of discretion to pay its employees legal expenses in a showing that the employee was acting in good faith in the course of official duties, a matter in which the municipality had interests. McCurry versus Town of Kearney, 2002. Whereas upon exoneration of a township public employee by prosecuting authority or the authority's decision to discontinue prosecution. The township desires to reimburse both legal fees and expenses associated with the defense of township public employees against the associated false or fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing. And therefore, be resolved, the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of New Jersey, as follows. 1, that the aforesaid recitals in a hereby are adopted by incorporated herein or repeated in full. 2, that upon exoneration of a township public employee as defendant in Township Code 15-1 by prosecuting authority or that authority's decision to discontinue prosecution, the Township Council hereby authorizes the reimbursement of township public employees for reasonable legal fees and expenses associated with defense or false fabricated allegations of criminal wrongdoing.
And of course, the false allegations were made by you, but pertaining to that resolution. But again, you said the word discretionary several times. And the other matter is,
Mr. Inglesino,
on the
for
matter
you
that
to even say,
on
let me ask
the
you a
other
question.
matter that you
When
pertain,
I
that
met
you
here on a Sunday night, you tell me that was official business, being
right.
in this building on a Sunday night.
Mr.
You
Valori,
was a township
let's
attorney.
take that- let's
a
stay-
council
let's stay
no,
on
we're not going to
subject.
do that because if they're going to say that I accuse you of something false, that's totally inappropriate. And just to let you know, you were never cleared. No one was ever cleared in that case. That case stated that it was, at the time, it was not clear. It was, at the time,
I think
it was
it's not-
viable.
that-
You were not clear.
Mr. Valori, I'd like to
So I'd
just
like to
call
go
order.
through my motion.
I'd like to call order. You have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, but Mr. Paluso, there is another piece of Mr. Valori has omitted with regard to the letter from the prosecutor concerning the individual at issue. It was not a clear, it was recommended by the prosecutor that the matter be referred back to the township for administrative hearing and proceedings. Those proceedings have not yet occurred. And so it is premature, at best, to say that
administrative,
you would be...
though.
Well, it's because evidence can be gathered in administrative hearings that could lead to other things. It was not said in the previous matter that you discussed concerning the mayor and I. There was a very strong letter saying that prosecution was not viable. There was no
Viable. It's
There
not-
was
it's
that's
not
very
that
strong
you're
language.
cleared.
There was
It's not
there
you're
was
cleared. It's not unsubstantiated.
Okay, it
It's
was-
not unfounded. It's not viable. You were not cleared.
you gave them the
Okay.
tape, and I was
The
clear. It
reality
didn't
was
say
this.
what you said it
I
said.
have the letter from the prosecutor's office. It states that he's cleared.
We don't need to-
So-
No, it doesn't. It says that it has to go back for administrative
John.
proceedings. Those proceedings have not yet occurred.
Listen, the reality was, Mr. Blinkus came in, you had every opportunity for your law firm to reach out to him, you had a week to go by, obviously, nobody did anything.
Well,
All
you don't
we're doing
know
is-
that, Mr. Carif,
Okay.
Mr. Valori. You don't know
And
that.
first and foremost,
My motion's forward.
if I may say,
Okay, so you have a motion on the floor, Mr. Valori.
Yes.
I would second that based upon the information that you just read to me in that resolution. And if it is deemed that the person is a township employee, they're in good standing, they provide us with the information as to how much the bills are, I would second that for
They're
you.
not in good standing pending, it's pending an administrative hearing as to whether or
Yeah,
not.
but this, we're not talking about
good
administrative, we're
standing.
talking about criminal. We're
This
talking
said
about
criminal,
criminal.
what you just
We're
read
not
to us,
talking
am I
about
correct?
administrative.
Okay, so hearing a motion, I have a second. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero? You here? Mr. DePiero?
I hear you.
Mr. Paluso?
No, he didn't.
He didn't say anything yet.
I think the motion is premature.
Mr. Inglesino, I believe
Based-
I believe it's a
Mr.
conflict.
DePiero's conflicted out.
It's conflicted out, so
He's
I don't
been
know why he's
conflicted
voting.
out of his case. I gave Mr. Marchetta something about a month and a half ago
Still hasn't got it yet.
that
well, this is definitely staged, Council President.
this is not because
Stop and control.
Mayor, please be quiet, Mayor. First off, Mayor, please be quiet. You cannot get up and then have your secretary run back to your office to
secretary
get you
ran back to my
when the
office,
heat is on. So
The fact of the
just
matter-
please be quiet
Your
over there
brother's-
now, Mayor.
Your brother's attorney shouldn't have been here. He's not even
Mayor,
supposed to have dialogue with the
Mayor,
client.
Mr. DePiero has been conflicted out. I
am
gave
not-
something
I
to
am not-
Mr. Marchetta
All right,
a month and a half ago.
Hold on, guys, hold on a second.
He gave it to
Mr. Karifi,
Mr.
the
Driscoll.
fact that you
come
gave
we've been
something to
talking
Mr.
about this? It's like your brother.
Marchetta is inappropriate,
Right.
number one. Number two, there has been no determination about Mr. DiPiero, other than you, who was clearly in
Well,
conflict,
when is, okay.
saying that there's a
How long
conflict.
how long does it take
So
Mr. Driscoll
if,
to read
if
one
you
little
would,
thing?
if you would like Mr. Driscoll to offer an opinion
Go ahead, you can let Mr.
as to
DiPiero.
whether or not Mr.
ahead.
DiPiero is in
I'm
conflict,
absolutely going to vote.
then Mr. Driscoll,
Before you do it,
Then Mr.
I'll
Dr-
read the email that you
the-
blasted out.
then Mr.
Mr.
Driscoll, then
Want me to read that
Mr.
out?
Mr.
I don't give a
Floyd,
shit
hold on.
what you do.
Hold on a second.
Oh, language. That's great
Hold on a
language, Mr.
Then-
DiPiero,
then
very
Mr.
appropriate.
Mr. Karifi, then Mr. Driscoll will issue an
Go
opinion.
ahead, we'll let...
But
we'll
you,
move on, we'll move on.
as being in more conflict than
We'll
anyone
move
up
on.
here, cannot say
Obviously,
that there's...
I don't
You
vote,
cannot
so-
declare, but you cannot declare
I did not
a
declare.
conflict
I gave that to
on
Mr.
somebody.
Marchetta, and his exact reaction was, "Oh boy, that's not good."
Listen, Mr. Driscoll will issue an opinion.
Okay, go ahead. Go proceed with the vote.
But
DePiero
Mr.
has the floor right now.
Proceed with the vote.
I believe the vote is premature. There are administrative hearings taking place. There are still lawsuits taking place. When the dust clears and these administrative hearings conclude and the lawsuits conclude, I would vote yes for this. But at this point in time, I think it's a premature motion, and I vote no.
I don't get to vote.
Mr. Paluso?
We're doing roll call. Next.
Mr. Paluso?
I vote yes, based upon what you're reading in the resolution, based upon what I indicated. If the legality is there and the person's entitled to it, they were a township
They're not
employee.
entitled to it. It is discretionary.
If they are entitled to it from a discretionary viewpoint, if you did it for a mayor before, you did it for a councilman, it is determined that this person is entitled to it on a discretionary basis, then I would agree with it. It may be premature, as Mr. DePiero had mentioned, but in this case, I believe, from what I'm seeing right here, from what I'm hearing, is that we have to make a determined move forward. I have given ample opportunity since January of this year to actually get this matter resolved, and it has not been resolved to my satisfaction. So I vote
Well,
yes.
that's because Mr.
Can I make a
Driscoll...
comment on that, Council?
We're in the middle of a
Roll
vote.
call.
And I will make one afterwards.
Mr. Stanton?
Abstain.
Mr. Valori?
Can he abstain?
Yes, just, for the record, before I make the vote,
I'm part of that lawsuit.
yes? Oh, now, please.
Well, so will you, Lou.
He abstained.
I'm not part of a lawsuit.
Mr.
I'm
Stanton
going for my vote
abstained.
right now. Before, don't
Go ahead,
interrupt
keep
me,
going.
please.
Keep going, Nora.
For the record, I have no problem speaking to the public about this. You have an attorney that came in last week. We had no representation up here. We have almost 2 years of letters requesting to be reimbursed on this resolution based on other members being reimbursed on this resolution. So, needless to say, when we say that we're waiting for, obviously, time to resolve itself in a civil matter, this is a criminal matter. And his attorney stated it quite clearly that obviously he was cleared by the Attorney General's office and the prosecutor's office. All I'm stating that is for that particular individual to submit his bills to obviously the business administrator, and I feel that he is entitled to being reimbursed that based on obviously this resolution, and I'm voting yes for him to be reimbursed.
Mr. Karifi?
Abstain.
Mr. Karifi, you have the gavel back.
Before we move on, since the council has voted down the ordinance to help parking resolution for the residents of Twin Oaks and Twin Oaks Court, I would like to request that we provide one side of the street parking on those streets to provide some relief to the residents on those streets. We apparently will not have any parking solution for the students.
Mr. DePiero, I'd just like to say respectfully that although the resolution did not pass, if we can actually resolve the issues of the Historical Committee and get the approval from the Board of Education in regards to liability, where there's a crossing guard and we're not putting our children in danger, that can always be resubmitted to us for further approval and consideration. if you do not want to resubmit that, then...
There is a crossing guard there. If you know anything about the area, you would know that.
I grew up in Parsippany. I know very
then-
well, and I
well,
went to Parsippany High
Well,
School.
then you should know there's a crossing guard.
There is, but it's down the road. They would have to walk. So, is there a crossing guard in that immediate vicinity? Let me clarify that. And there is a lot of concerns on behalf of the Historical Committee as well. So, in getting them resolved, we could still potentially move forward with this idea. If you would like to propose another opportunity where we can have
The
one-side
obstacle
parking...
proposed
let's
is
look
by the
into it.
Historic Committee are, make the amount of parking we provide for the students negligible. Your liability issue, okay? It's township property, okay? Just like the administration building for the school board is township property, all right?
Correct.
Do we have a liability problem?
No, but we're taking action to change the purpose of what this facility was used for.
For the record, I don't see a liability concern
Of
issue
course
for the
not.
township.
Well, the liability
They're
may
trying
not
to
be
throw up
from...
the smoke, any smoke screen they can, they're trying to
Well,
throw up.
the concern of our children getting run over by a vehicle is a concern. People have died on Baldwin Road. Okay, so that's a major concern of mine, having a potential student go into the school in the future, having graduated from Parsippany High School as well. I know it's a dangerous road. So, if that's the case, and there's other unresolved matters, last week we had a number of people come up from the Historical Committee that had a concern. Let's get the concerns addressed. Let's get the Board of Education to commit in writing that they agree with this, and let's move forward.
So
What's
instead,
the issue?
they walk from Twin Oaks across Vale Road, so that's a much safer walking route than Baldwin.
They can go to the crossing guard at the corner.
Much safer route.
We're done with that issue? Okay. Just before we move on to the public hearing, Mayor, I asked you last meeting if you had a name of an attorney to present to the
Wait,
council.
did I get an answer to my question? Can we have an ordinance for one side of the street parking for Twin Oaks and Twin Oaks Court?
Well, the ordinance has to be broken down. Obviously, it has to go in front of John. We don't know how long that's going to take. And
I'm not asking you, Lou.
Well, I'm responding back.
Well, I did respond. I said, if
So
that's
that's
something I'd
everybody.
like to propose, let's look into it, I said. I did say that. Let's look into it. If it's something that you're feel very strongly about, let's look into it.
Wait, just don't worry.
Is that good enough?
I pass.
Okay. All right, Mayor, last week I asked you for the name, if you had the name of an attorney that a Superior Court judge ruled that you must provide us in a timely manner with the name of an attorney to represent the council.
Did you get my email from yesterday?
No, I did not.
All right, well...
Okay, well, it was supposed to be in a timely manner. And
Well, you're going to get it on October 5th. It's stated in my email that my attorney has been away on vacation. I wanted to have dialogue with him, in effect, because you're absolutely correct. But the judge also decided that the two resolutions that were proposed by the ordinance of a whole were null and void because you exceeded your authority. So therefore, on October 5th, I will have an attorney for you. October 6th, whatever the next meeting is.
And just a correction, Mayor, was that the judge, you're right, said in regards to, we don't have the authority to appoint an attorney. But the judge stated quite clearly that we have the power to investigate, we have the power to, obviously, to get representation, but through you. And obviously, it was quite, apparent that the judge wants the issues resolved here if there's questions or concerns. So he's giving you the power, which obviously you do have the power to obviously assign someone to us. But that doesn't mean that we're going to procrastinate a year before we get an attorney assigned to us, because we could still subpoena and investigate whoever we want. But again, we don't want to ruffle any feathers by obviously, anybody insinuating that we're doing anything improper because we're not attorneys. So I think that would be better for the council members here, and we could resolve some issues and concerns that we have. So again, hopefully we could get this attorney assigned to us. It's your attorney. We're not going to gripe who this attorney is going to be, but let's just move forward with this because...
Well, he has to give us a name.
Give us a name. And
I'll
I
give
have
you a
no
name.
problem who the person is. We just need legal advice.
I just explained, I sent an email to the
Okay.
council president yesterday. Obviously, he did not look at his emails. So therefore, October 6th, I think that's the next meeting, you will have the name of an attorney.
Well, you also told me last week I would have a name this week.
And I just told you why. If you read the email, you would have known why.
Okay.
Okay, but this was resolved in July, so we're
Right.
going to October.
All right, ordinances for introduction, none. This time I entertain a motion to open up a public hearing.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
My name was on the list second, but there's somebody ahead of me.
Okay.
Ladies, council members, good evening. This is referred to Mr. Barbario.
Wait, could you state your name and address, sir? Just state your name.
Thomas Folco, you all know me.
You can take the mic out of this. There you go.
Here, we gotta.
Yeah, I think it's
I think
on.
it's on. I think it's on.
It's on, right?
Yes.
My name is Thomas Folco, and this is, may I sit down? I'm
And
handicapped.
your address?
I'm handicapped. May I sit down?
Yes, and your address?
Anyway, these
Sir, your
questions are
address?
to you, Mr.
Sir,
Barbario. The
sir,
questions I
sir,
asked
sir.
are
Hold on, just your address? Name and address. I need your address, too.
820 Park Road.
Okay, thank you.
All set?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Barbario, these questions I got to ask you, they're very serious questions, and I want serious answers about it. You hired a gentleman called Mike. He works for housing, correct? Correct. What's he doing on Saturday? Is he getting paid and a half to take my political signs down? In prior of June, 3 weeks, 3 Saturdays, in prior of June's election, my sign's been missing. Gee, all of a sudden he got legs. Here he was caught by somebody, got caught stealing my signs, putting them in a dumpster on a Saturday. And you answered me correctly, if not correct, tell me. You said he's allowed. I have an understanding, I can't understand that. What is he allowed to do? Take my signs down? What is he allowed to do?
If
Work
it's
on
town-
Saturdays?
If it's on, I told you, Mr. Fuqua, if it's on town property, they will be removed.
But you're saying as a town.
I'm just saying
Your
that's
own
the
sign-
rule.
Mr. Barbario, hold on. Your own signs, when you were running, were on town property. I've seen them, and everybody else seen them. Mr. Gariffi's seen them, everybody's seen them. Your signs are also on private property.
Every sign,
I
even
mean,
if my signs were there, they were removed.
I want to know, wait, is this man here getting paid time and a half for a Saturday? Is he getting paid time?
Mr. Fogo, he's getting paid whatever the contract provides.
Excuse me, sir?
He's getting paid whatever the contract provides.
I'm sorry.
He's getting paid whatever the contract provides.
And I'd like to see that contract. And
Well,
I-
you can open it, it's
I'd
available
like
to
to
the
see,
public.
tell that young lady. because
Well, you
I
can,
know what
you
Yancy
can, you
says.
can do that, sir.
So you're telling me that the contract says he can work on
No,
Saturday?
what I'm saying
Housing
is,
doesn't work on Saturday, Mr. Angelsino.
what I'm saying to you is, the answer to your question is found in the labor contract, which is available to the public, and you're welcome to open it.
So you're leaving that at blank, not, without no answer?
I don't have the contract in front of me.
We'll get you a copy of the contract.
I will appreciate it, because as all you members know about signs, they're expensive. And everybody here must have got signs robbed when they were running at the time. You know, I don't like to blame anybody, but I don't like to have my signs taken down either. I need exposure. Mr. DePiero, Mr. Barbier, they don't need exposure. I need exposure. And they let me down on that. They took my signs. A member of his administration, Mr. Barbier's administration, had him working on Saturday taking my signs down. He was caught. He was caught on 53. And you know what Jennifer says? He's not a good candidate for me, only because he's a violator. The guy who said he's seen him is supposed to be a violator.
Now, do you know that these signs usually get returned back to DPW? These signs usually get returns back to the other side of town here, where you could obviously collect them. So
I'm sorry.
So when the sign gets...
Let me get closer, man. Don't talk
Yeah.
that loud.
When
Just so I can
a
understand.
sign usually gets collected, it usually is brought over to, I guess, the DPW?
Usually, it's DPW, and I don't actually know where they drop them.
Or-
And they notify.
Back by the
Forestry.
forestry. Usually they get those signs, they bring them back to Parks and Forestry, and they stack them
I
there.
had him. Louis, I had a witness that seen him put them in dumpsters.
Well, they shouldn't have gotten dumpsters, they should have been, that
Not
property
got the
collected.
dumpster, somebody else's property's dumpster. They
Okay.
took them from the property, put them in the dumpster of the property.
Well, if he's there taking them down, he should
And
have
the
taken them.
owner came up to me and says, look, Tom, look what I found. I found your signs in my dumpster, which he allows to give the dumpsters to his tenants.
Okay,
Well, I think he's got 6 or 7 tenants. It's a small mall.
okay.
But anyway,
He's just-
I seen him and on Sunday, 2 police officers also seen him. Working on that Saturday. My question is, this man here, working on Saturday, retired police officer, does he have the right to go and take signs down? Mr. Barbera says yes.
I'm not an attorney. I would say if he's being directed to take them down, but they shouldn't be destroyed. They should be obviously brought somewhere, and they could obviously.
They
be
were
reflected.
all in private property. I did everything by the book. I went to house to get the okay. I did all I had to do, just like everybody else has to do. Matter of fact,
Mr. Folko, I think my question would be is, if he was working on a Saturday, why is he, because I'm sure Saturday would be overtime, so that would be time and a half. My
Exactly,
guess.
and I wanna
So
see
why
the-
do we have a town employee taking down campaign signs on a Saturday? Probably, more than likely, making overtime.
you would have to ask him that.
Right.
You would have to ask him, Paul. You don't ask me. I only think
Well, no,
I saw.
I would ask the business
I
administrator.
I seen him working on Saturday. 2 police officers also seen him working on Saturday with the town car. It has a round emblem on him, I believe.
Yes.
He was seen, and my point is, if he was working on Saturday and he's allowed, he's getting paid time and a half, like you mentioned. I want to see if he got paid time and a
Actually, I
half
don't-
to take signs down.
Real quick, what's his contract state? He could, maybe it's not working Monday that week, maybe it's not working Tuesday. You can't assume until you see what his contract is. Maybe he's still doing a 40-hour week, and he's working
Ellen, do you
on
know what
Saturday.
hours?
doesn't work
Ellen, do you know,
Monday
does he
through
work, well, we can find that out right now. Ellen, do you know if he works
How
Monday
does
through
it work
Friday?
Saturday and Sunday?
I believe he does work Monday through Friday, but I would also say that he could be working on a Saturday to investigate. Sometimes he can't get into an apartment.
I
to
can't
re-
hear you, ma'am.
Oh, I'm saying, what, I'm sorry. Okay, I know, it's okay. You really can't hear. Okay, what I'm saying
You have to
is,
speak loud. I can hear you
okay,
fine.
can hear, okay, you can read my lips. Okay, what I am saying is that he works Monday through Friday. However, there are times when he cannot get into a certain area to review, and sometimes he has to work on a Saturday because of, an issue with a housing or zoning, and that's why he might have been working. However, I don't think the job was, you're going to work Saturday to get overtime to take down signs. He may have been on his way to an inspection,
Or
which,
maybe he's done it on his own, and without Mr. Barbera knowing, or Jennifer knowing.
Okay, Mr.
He could have done it on his own.
all those are possibilities. However, I will investigate. Do you have a time of when this took place? What date? And,
Not on me, but I do have them all.
yes,
yeah.
so just get back to
I'll
me.
get back to you
If that's okay,
during the
Council
week, is that all
President.
right?
Yeah, get back to me, and I'll find out why he was working on that
That
particular
Saturday.
time. Okay?
Okay,
That's,
thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
Okay, who's number 2 on the list?
You're quite well.
Mary Przicki, 273 Marcella Road. I'm here tonight to express my own opinion as a taxpayer and not a member of the society like I did last year. It is the society with concerns besides the committee, okay, when we presented those concerns. And I really hope that you paid attention and read them. But I did a little investigating, reporting myself, and I went up to the proposed area that you would have liked transportation to go. I'd like to present a group of 10 pictures to you, and I will make an explanation of each one real quick. This is the driveway at Knoll Country Club by the pool, in total disrepair. Would have to get redone, totally redone, at my taxpayers' expense. The same with the second driveway, is just as bad as the first. You couldn't get a bus up there very comfortably. You couldn't get a car up there very comfortably. So when you say that you would fix something, you would have to start with the entrance, okay? Costly. This is the front of the building. and it's boarded up on one side. The pool is in total disrepair. I can't see how you could expect to have workers walking around through the front door when they'd have to go through the weeds and the disrepair of the pool. Here's another picture of it. This is the back of this building in disrepair. It's not an easy thing, I think, to fix. The siding's falling off. I hate to see what the inside must look like if the outside looks like that. So you have a cost factor there if you're going to put the bus drivers. This is a better picture of it, okay? My tax dollars to be spent. Again, municipal tax dollars. Here it is with actual holes in it, so I imagine there's kind of maybe a couple squirrels and raccoons, since they seem to like that kind of an entrance. So the inside has to be pretty messy. This is the parking area, which has to be totally repaired if you want to put buses up there and you want drivers to walk in safety. Plus, observe, there are no outside lights, overhead lights up there. Total darkness. Bus drivers do overtime at night. They come in at 10:30, quarter to 11, sometimes from sports trips. They come alone in this desolated area. Through the streets, you can either access it through Green Pond Road or you can access it through Knoll East. Now, are they prime areas for plowing, or secondary or third roads for plowing in the winter, since the Knoll is not used as a golf course, but it does have receptions maybe every once in a while in it? The drivers go out, some of them, in the buses at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning when freeze happens, and you're going to put them on roads like that. But first you got to put lighting up there so they can actually get in the buses safely. I mean, consideration for 19 drivers should be a concern of yours when you're putting them in that area. The reason why transportation is where it is because it's centrally located to each school. If you go and you take a trip, you will add 8 minutes from where transportation is today to get to the Knoll pool. So you're adding 16 minutes 3 times a day, which means about 48 minutes to their day, their working day. That means I pay now the Board of Education, each driver an hour extra because of its location. This is the parking area by Hawks Trail. If you look closely, you'll see the cars where they had widened.
30 seconds.
Where they had widened the road. You take my tax dollar and take striping, white striping. This can support 15 parking spaces very easily and put emergency vehicles easily access to the field. It won't cost anything but the striping material. Maybe you'll lend it to the Board of Education. The kids will be safer because you'll be on Board of Education property. And you'll be saving me tax dollars twice. Take that into consideration. So I'm glad that you didn't pass the ordinance, because if it would lead to something like that, but there's a simple solution that's not going to cost anybody anything, and it's not going to inconvenience anything, go talk to the Board of Education.
Thank
So
you.
here's your pictures.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's like CSI.
Just give them to the clerk and then.
Well, make sure you look at them.
I'll look at it. No, John, you can't look this.
Yes, he can. He was the one who put
I'll have to pass a resolution for that.
What do you mean an ordinance?
discretionary.
It's discretionary.
Discretionary.
Pictures. You're a gimp.
I've been called a lot worse, Pat. stand without crutches now. So, Jonathan Nelson, 202 Patriots Road. It got confusing earlier on in the meeting, but it was always my understanding with the broker record that, like, when you vote for the broker record in 2013, what you're doing is authorizing them to get your health insurance for the next year, for 2014. When you vote for the broker record in 2014, they're negotiating your health insurance for 2015. In 2015, you didn't vote for a broker of record, and I didn't hear any answer unless it was just Mr. Inglesino's response that you guys have to talk about in closed session. But it's my understanding that we don't have a broker of record to negotiate 2016. If that's not right, then I think the public should have a right to know what it is. And here I'm going to stand and defend John a little bit, but John was absolutely right. As far as the council voting to reimburse Councilman Stanton, Mayor Barbario, and Mr. Inglesino in 2000.
take it.
No, you didn't take it. I just said authorize. We voted to authorize it, and John's exact words were he wasn't that politically naive to accept the money, which he did say, and it was right. But the thing that John,
Not what I said.
what John did, what John is right in saying tonight was that it was at the discretion of the council to approve the money, that it's not automatic. And my question is, you know, with everything that was going on, that resolution that you were reading before, it sounded familiar. I assume that was very similar in words to the 2013
No, that was the resolution.
resolution. Okay.
2013.
So
I was not a council member.
No,
when it
I
was
understand.
discussed.
So basically, what I take from that is that the council voted, because it was confusing and it happened very fast, the council voted 2-1 in favor of using their discretion to reimburse, with 2 abstentions. Was that how the vote went? Because it happened very quickly.
You'd have to ask the clerk what the
That's
voice
what-
vote was.
That's what I'm looking right at.
Yes. 2 yes, 2 abstain, 1 no.
1 no. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Papatacha, 182 Hawkins Avenue. Just quickly, talking about the sewer before, does that mean the investigation in the sewer is completed? In the sewer department? Okay, Fairview. Yeah, that was very confusing with Fairview. I left the meeting with the impression that the council could bring in a new person. They were basically told they had to do it then to get the insurance in. But if they wanted to go with somebody else, they could. So I don't know what the heck's going on, but I would fight that and keep on with it. Aurora, I hope you find out where that other $22,000 is coming from, because that is infuriating.
That was news to me.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe we'll get that AAA rating because we have women doing the job now.
Yes. We have the A-team over there.
You got it. We don't play around. Okay. Reimbursement of legal fees. I remember this so well because I think I was the one that came up, and at the council at that time, the council all of a sudden received this resolution, and they were basically, again, held hostage because it really had to get done. We really needed this vote. And there was a big push on it, and that push was Mr. Inglesino saying that it's for your betterment, for you, for this, for that, and the other thing, to protect yourselves. And when I came up, I said, I think you're doing a disservice to the community because these tax dollars are coming out of our pocket. We've never had a problem like that before, that we needed something like that. And if you know what your jobs are sitting up there, you know what and what not to say. Okay? That resolution was specifically made for that January 2013 meeting that was done at night, that all that BS started with. Okay? 2 people got reimbursed, the councilman and the mayor. it is your discretion. But let me ask you this question. Has it gotten anywhere to the council yet? Did Belinkus's whatever that he sent to the town, did it get to the council yet? He's requested to be reimbursed under this resolution? Is that what you're telling us? Somebody answer that question, please.
Well, so
Since January.
Yeah.
Since January, we've received numerous requests for reimbursement, and that's where we have not received the information.
Okay, so
actually,
who has received it? The council or the administration?
I think both.
Okay. So you're not acting on it. Why?
They did act on it.
Excuse me? What?
You tried to act on it. I understand that. But what I'm saying is,
Were you here last week when Mr. Blinka showed up?
yes.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, no one knew that, you know, obviously Ellen and the CFO and Justin was going to be here. So, you know, a week went by, so I assumed that there would have been some answers to some of the obviously things that he had brought up.
Okay.
Plus the other memos and obviously the folks inquiring about it in the past. It's been about a year and a half. So what I'm asking for is nothing that's foreign. It's just like, hey, what are we doing with this?
No, well, that's the big thing, is that you people have to get your acts together. And I find it very disheartening that we can't get our act together, and I'll tell you why. Because we have people being conflicted all over the place. We have a conflicted attorney. We have another conflicted attorney. How can we function? We're not functioning at all. Is there a way to get an attorney to sit on this bench that does not have anything against it?
30 seconds.
This is incredible that the townspeople has to sit here and watch this BS go on and on and on. Seriously, I am fed up with it, and I hope to God after this is over that you guys rescind that resolution and get it the hell out of here. Because nobody's going to care what they say anymore, and this town's going to get their butts sued quickly and very expensively. We're talking about reducing the speed limit someplace. On 46, I'm not sure the name of the road, on 46, the two lanes where you make the left, I think it's before Wendy's and then you make that short right, where you just put the light over that little bridge near 280, is that 287 over there? Littleton Road.
yeah.
When you're on 46, you're making the left. Your left lane and your far right lane. Your left lane has nothing on this side of 46. It's just the left lane. When you cross over, it now has the arrows that you have to stay to the left. That's not happening. You have people cutting off people left and right over there. It's been going on for years.
For years, yeah.
I mean, it's going to end up in an accident. Last week, a truck stopped short for another truck that almost rammed him. But I mean, you know, improve that, maybe make the that left-hand turning lane, make sure those arrows are there, and people, you know, get the signs out there or something must stay left-hand turn.
30 seconds.
My 30 seconds is going to be, I'm tired of the bickering up here. I really am. I'm yelling back and forth. I will say this. As a taxpayer and somebody that does attend town meetings, I myself believe Mr. Karifi has handled himself with much decorum, with what's being said about his brother, what's being said out loud in front of everybody, and being told to shut up. I think he has stayed out of the matter. I don't think he has put his 2 cents into it all that much at all. And I feel terrible that the attorney and our mayor insisted on joining forward in this fight with James. It's disgusting.
Council President, can I respond?
Wait, we're going to close. Oh, you're going to answer a question?
It's
Go
one
ahead.
of the
Okay.
questions, yeah. It has to do with the resolution that is on here, Pat, Resolution 157. And I just want to read from that part of, that we did get the letter that the DOT did go out and investigate it. And this is what their findings were, and this is what the action will be if the council votes for this evening. In view of our field investigation, it is recommended that the existing approved 40 miles an hour be reduced to 35 miles an hour for the entire length of frontage road number 2, Littleton Road in Parsippany-Troy Hills, and that maintenance forces will be upgrading and adding additional warning signs to provide emphasis and guidance along the frontage road, number 2, Littleton Road. So they're going to put, yeah, that's the one that's tonight, on for tonight. So what we'll do is, we'll say, I guess, thank you for this, and then request the investigation for what you're talking about. But I just wanted to let you know, that's what's on for tonight, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see no one else come forward, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, seconded by Mr. Valori. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton? Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. Valori?
Resolution 2015-156, resolution of the Township Council to the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills concurring with the utilization of a no passing zone on Route US 202. Motion to approve the above resolution?
Motion made by Mr. Valori,
Second.
seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. DePiero?
Resolution 2015-157. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in support of lowering speed limits along frontage road number 2, Littleton Road, and Memorial Road for both directions of traffic. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Mr. Stanton?
Or 2015-158, resolution Township Council, Township Parsippany-Troy Hills, authorizing an amendment to the Municipal Shared Services Defense Agreement.
Motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Okay, at this time, we'll go into closed session.
Yeah, we shouldn't have it either. It would be a motion to go into closed session to discuss for attorney-client privilege communications, as well as potential litigation. Those are both exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act. And if somebody wanted to put that in the form of a motion and a second, then you can vote to go.
Okay,
into
motion
closed
made by
session.
myself, seconded by Mr. Stanton. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton? Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
That was a little,
Hey, Nora.
I can't hold myself on this.
Watch my stuff.
Opening the door. Is it because this one was
It's not ready.
oh my God. That was on the phone.
Nancy, I just have some problems.
I was speaking to all the river. I didn't want to stop this one meeting to say, listen.
I know, right?
You know, we're doing, I mean,
I had a big,
Entertain a motion to reconvene. Motion made by Mr. Stanton, seconded by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes, here.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. This time, entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion made by Mr. Stanton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Before we close the meeting, I just want to say it's Children's Cancer Awareness Month, and also Happy Yom Kippur. Yes.
Oh, yes, tonight. Tonight.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Mr. Karifi?
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
No, it's not. The Saturday.
this was the saddest one.
This is, but they asked for forgiveness.
This is also done.
Have to make outdoor.
like confession.
What's
Probably much better
Much better.
than the New Year.
Yeah.
Confession.